Thanks for joining me again. I was asked to discuss how do you handle seeing the narcissist after you've left them, after you've separated, whatever the situation might be. How do you handle seeing them again, being back in their presence? They push all our buttons. Anybody who's watching this is watching for a reason, and you know the reactions and the emotions that they put us through. And so how do you handle that? How do you deal with that when you have to be back in their presence after being away from them? So I thought this was a really great topic. I appreciate the suggestion, and I hope that what I share helps. It should be pretty short and sweet based on my own experience. I thought about it and I thought, well, I'm not a shining example because you all probably saw that video that I made right after I left my old house after going back and not having been there for a very long time. And I had to really think about that, and I realized that he wasn't the one that evoked that reaction from me so much as it was the police being there and stopping me from going into the house and carrying on the way they did, because they really had no right to. You know, could I have stayed? Could I have made a big stink? Yes, absolutely. You know, more police would have been called, blah, blah, blah. It just wasn't worth the time or the effort. They absolutely interfered without a right to, and I think that upset me more than anything looking back now. So it wasn't so much him as it was them intervening without a right. So I started thinking about it when I realized that I was going to have to be around him again. Was very insistent in telling John, you know, I don't want to be around him. I don't want to see him. I don't want to be in the same room with him. I absolutely dreaded it because I worked so hard to get myself out of that place mentally, the place that he had me in, and the way he made me feel, and the way my narcissistic mother made me feel. You know, she's a peach too. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of self-talk and you know, hours and hours of therapy to not be in that place. And I thought, I will go and be in his space. I'll go backwards. It will break down my progress to be around him. That was my concern, that being around him would make me feel the way I used to feel, the way I don't want to feel ever again. That's like, it's like a lifetime ago now. I'm not that person. I don't feel that way. I don't think that way. I don't see myself the way I used to. That's all behind me after lots and lots of therapy. And I thought, I'm going to go and I'm going to take 10 steps backwards if I'm around him. So that was my concern. I don't want to be in his space. I don't want him making me feel that way. Let's just say that did not happen at all. It was not like that at all. And I know everybody's experiences will be different, and I can only tell you what mine was. But I think if you are putting lots of effort into moving forward and moving on and all that negativity, they won't have the kind of effect on you that I was afraid he was going to have on me. You just have to steel yourself to it and prepare for it. And again, lots of self-talk. But my experience was sitting in this room just prior to my deposition, story for another day. He walked in and it was like somebody took all the air out of the room. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I wish somebody would have had a camera to take a picture of the look on my face when he walked in. Swear, he looked like the Crypt Keeper. He looks like the Crypt Keeper. He has aged 40 years since this all started. I didn't even think it was possible. I'm astonished. When I see him, it's like I'm not even looking at the same person. Once the initial shock wore off and we dove in and got down to business, like I said, story for another day, I realized that living your life the way a narcissist does, focusing all your energy on negative things, focusing all of your energy on how am I going to get back at this person? How am I going to make this person miserable? And just doing the awful things that they do eventually catches up with you. Eventually it's just, you're going to wear it. You can't be that miserable and negative on the inside without it showing on the outside. That's exactly what has happened with my ex. I would venture to guess that's probably what happens with most. I just couldn't get over it. And each time I have to be in his presence and I'm forced to see him, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. He's aged decades. And all I could think is that would be me if I was still with him. The sleeplessness, the emotional drain, the just absolute misery. I wasn't ready for that. I did not expect that at all. My emotions got the best of me last time I was in court, and I even told him that he really needs to let this whole thing go because it's really aging him. And, don't talk to my client, all that. But I had to tell him to his face, even though he's probably going to creep and, watch my channel and watch these videos, and then he gets to hear it again. Yeah, my friends, family, whoever, they were like, how did it go? What, are you okay? What happened? I'm like, he looks like the Crypt Keeper. I know they think I'm exaggerating. They've had instances to see for themselves. Now they believe me. But anyway, you prepare yourself mentally. You're not there anymore. They don't have that control anymore. You have to engage with them briefly. You have to deal with their nonsense, especially if you're raising children. I really, really feel for you if you have to raise children with a narcissist once you've separated, because I can only imagine how much worse they are. It's just not the same. They don't have the same control over you emotionally, mentally, nothing. It's not the same. And you prepare yourself for it and you talk yourself up for it. But many of you know that once you're away from them, how drastically everything changes. Your perception of yourself, your self-esteem, everything. It all just changes so drastically that each encounter, I believe, gets easier. And once you do see them after not having seen them for so long, and you are moving on and you realize how much happier you are, when you do see them, you really just pity them, because I don't think there's anybody more miserable than a narcissist. They're pretending to be something they're not. They're envious of other people. They wish they had what somebody else had. They are never, ever, ever satisfied, and they are never happy. And all I can think is, what a miserable existence. Anytime this subject comes up, I think about the things that he's done and the things that he's doing. All I think is, what a miserable existence. And I'm just so grateful for mine. Over and over. Every day. I count my blessings. I count them twice, sometimes 3 times, sometimes more. I'm so incredibly grateful that mess is no longer a part of my life. That's what your focus needs to be. That's what your focus needs to be. Not what they're going to say, not how they're going to make you feel, nothing. Your focus has to be, that's the past. That is the past. That's not my life anymore. That's not who I'm with anymore. They can't control me anymore. They don't make me feel that way anymore. That has to be the focus. That's probably the best advice I can give, is that self-talk, to remind yourself that you're no longer in that situation, that they don't have that control anymore. It's over. It's over. You walk out that door, it's over. At some point it becomes definite, and there just is no more control, because that's all they thrive on. And once you take that from them, they have nothing to thrive on. I hope this helped. I hope it gives perspective. I hope it gives hope, because the feeling of relief and the feeling of freedom that you have if and when you do have an encounter with your ex narcissist and you walk away, the feeling of freedom and relief that you have outweighs all of their ugliness. The feeling of freedom and relief that you have waking up in the morning, going to bed at night, being with somebody who loves you and someone you love, or spending your time with people that make you feel good, that outweighs all of their ugliness. The scales are just so drastically tipped in your favor once you're away from them. It outweighs everything. No matter how ugly they are, all the good in your life outweighs them. So you have to let that be your focus. You have to just remind yourself, if you're already out of it, it's going to get better. And if you're still in it, get out. It'll be worth it in the end. So I hope this video helped. I'll have another one coming soon. If you have any suggestions for videos, or if there's anything that you want to ask me, I know many of you reach out to me through Facebook, or you'll send me a private message, and I appreciate that. I hope that I can get back to everybody in a timely fashion. It means a lot to hear your feedback. It means a lot when you reach out to me, and I can try to use my situation, at least try, to be of some help to somebody. So thanks for watching.